everyone. Welcome back to Coffee Chats here with Burns Estate Planning and Wealth Advisors. I'm George Pikounis, and I have my colleague Alex Astin with me here today. And we're going to be talking about something that seems to be pretty prevalent in the news and finance recently with the Trump accounts. So I've been hearing more about these, Alex, and clients are starting to bring them up. I know you're working on an article right now about them, and you're kind of the de facto expert when it comes to these at the firm. So why don't you talk us through, what you're starting to hear, what your clients might be bringing up in meetings, and kind of let us know, some of the insides and outsides for these Trump accounts.
Yeah, well, thanks, George. But it's not often that you get someone, a new type of an account, and this has been a common question we're getting is, tell me about them, right? I understand I might get some money, how much money, who gets it, when, what about in the future, how does it work? So what we look at with the Trump accounts is if you were born between 2025 to 2028, you're able to receive $1,000 from the government. And that $1,000 is intended to go into this account. It's almost like a retirement account for your kids, because currently, or at least previously prior to these accounts, you had to have earned income to contribute to an IRA. Well, not many 2-year-olds have an IRA, right? Because you have to have earned income. So it just didn't exist in most instances. So this allows
you tell me you're not putting your kids to work right now?
Well, in the backyard, there's no tax return for mowing the lawn,
Right. You gotta give them a W-2, right?
Yeah. So the way it's going to allow your children to start saving sooner, or at least you doing it for your children on a tax-deferred basis, right? Because what it allows you to do, like an IRA, saves money tax-deferred. And then the Trump accounts are an account that really are meant for future retirement. 59 and a half years old is when you hit that special mark where you no longer have that 10% withdrawal penalty to take distributions from this. So in a nutshell, that's how it works. Employers can also contribute into these accounts per year. I think we'll start seeing that a lot more. Because even, we were looking at, in the article that I was looking at on the Trump account website, it says $1,000. If you just open the account and you have that $1,000, when your child's 18 years old, without touching it, without making another contribution, it's estimated to be at $6,000. Okay. And then if you contribute just $250 a year, it's estimated to be about $19,000 over the course after 18 years. So that compounding interest allows it to start early and build and accumulate. By the time you get to, say, 60 years old, those assets may have some real growth. And so that's really, about what the Trump accounts are, how they work. Whether it makes sense to have one or not. I think if you're going to be or if you have a child born between 2025 and 2028, it's a free $1,000, right? You might as well. Yeah. But if you were born, any child under the age of 18 can open one as well. It's not just that age group. That age group's just for the free money. And I'm never going to say no to taking free money.
That's how I feel. I think you bring up, this is a new account, kind of going from when we saw the ESA covered L days and then 529s came out of nowhere. The new is always like, oh, this is interesting. How does it impact our financial goals? How can we implement it into financial plans? And, the clients we typically work with, I feel the same way. It's like, might as well take advantage of the free money. Is it something that I would use specifically or solely over a 529? I would say probably not. And anytime we're sitting down with clients, it's looking at the goals, the investment vehicles that we do have options with, and how we can implement them into strategies. But I kind of feel similarly is if we're going to get this free money, I don't see a downside to that. But when it comes to more holistic planning, that's when I start to say, okay, here's some of the drawbacks. Here's what we can do to circumvent certain types of potential issues. And I say issues in quotations. So, again, being able to have tax-deferred growth and then paying taxes down the road, I don't necessarily view that as an issue per se. It's more so planning for it. But I think those are some good points. When it comes to opening these accounts, are you familiar with that process at all? I don't know enough about that side of it, but I would love to get some perspective of, if this is something you want to do, what are we doing? How do we direct our clients or prospective clients to do something like that?
So you have to you can open them on trumpaccounts.gov. That's the website that they've set up here.
Easy to remember.
Easy.
Straight to the point.
TrumpAccounts.gov. Yep. There's an app that you'll download, and the rest, it's just like opening
An
any
app.
other
All right,
account.
I'm out. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
But George, going back to being advisors, right? There are certain circumstances where it could make sense to have one of these. Maybe there's some that doesn't, but you were mentioning the 529 plan. One thing about those 520, correct me if I'm wrong, and I don't think I am, but most people don't come into our office and go, hey, I'm trying to save for my child's retirement. How can I do that? That's kind of what the Trump account does. I think the main priority is maybe paying for my child's education. Because at the end of the day, that's sooner. They want to get them into life without debt, which is a great head start. And then ultimately, I think what you've got to think about is by the time you pass away, that is your child's inheritance, right? Most people are not typically looking to help them save for retirement if they're trying to do it themselves. It's how can I get my kid through college or grandkid through college, and it's a really independently remain. What's the goal? Is it retirement for them, or is it education? Is it a car? Is it a house? What's the goal? Because taxes also matter when it comes to these accounts, right? 529 are tax deferred,
Right.
and tax-free distributions. These Trump accounts, like if you were going to contribute to an IRA, you get a tax deduction. These Trump accounts, you don't get a tax deduction, and it's taxable income when you take it out. So it really depends on what the goal of the funds are. Would be based on what suggestion we would make.
Yeah, and not having the necessity for income to contribute, I do think is a differentiator. If you have a newborn, again, the likelihood that they are working or earning some sort of income to be able to contribute is very, very low. And don't get me wrong, we see it in instances they're a newborn model or something like that. But the likelihood that they're on payroll somewhere is going to be low. So I think that's a good way to take advantage of extra savings, because there are people that want to help their kids get a head start. And I do look at this as an opportunity. It's like, look, here's a way to start contributing on their behalf for some retirement goals and get them started with something fundamentally with saving and building that into their approach to finance. Because I often joke about it, but I mean, in reality, I think saving is half the battle when it comes to investments in the first place. Mm-hmm. It's that with compounding interest, et cetera, but saving's tough. And if you want to set your kids up for success, I just think it's another avenue that you can look into in order to set your kids up for another level of success that wasn't previously available or may not have been as. It is somewhat tax efficient, so I would say it's somewhat tax efficient. Because yes, you could set up a UGMA, UTMA account, but those you're going to be, or your kid's going to be taxed along the way potentially, and if they do start earning money, that could inhibit that side too. So I definitely think it's going to be something that we continue to look at. Anything else that you want to add in terms of the accounts or what we're looking at?
Well, I mean, there isn't really any more detail to get into about them. I think the key takeaway here is the more options you have, the better, right? Just the options available, you don't have to use it, but that extra tool could be right for your toolbox, depending on what that situation looks like for you going forward. So this video's intention was to give you an idea about the basics of the Trump accounts, how they might work, how they may differ from other children's accounts. And then that way, you can go a little bit more educated into, hey, should I open an account or not? At the end of the day, you may need to contact your financial advisor. Obviously, we'd love to have you at Burns Estate Planning, but we totally recommend talking to a financial professional. No matter really what account you're going to open or do, talk to your advisor, get a good idea about what they think about it.
That's actually a great point too. Just if people are going to be gung-ho about these, I would say pump the brakes and see how it does fit into your financial picture. So yeah, we'd love to sit down with y'all. You know where to find us, BurnsEstatePlanning.com. I'm in Tallahassee. Alex is in Destin. So if you're feeling like coming to Florida, come hang out with us. But we appreciate everyone coming to view this today. And again, Alex, thank you for the research you've done and the advice and information there. Hopefully that at the very least will be helpful and at least get people pointed in the right direction. Again, I've been George Pikounis, and my colleague and financial advisor, Alex Astin. And we thank you all for coming to see us at the coffee chat, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you, George.
Thanks, Alex.